Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. You saw that thumbnail, you saw that title. So, you know what we're about to do. We're going to be talking about Caitlin Clark and what she said recently and why I think that was not a good look. Let me go ahead and give you a lay the land, if you will. I read a book one time, and in the book, there's a story of old time New York where people walked around, usually in suits and dresses, looking nice all the time. That was their outdoor appear. There was not a casual wear, so to speak. So during that time, there was a man walking, let's say he was going east, and a woman walking toward him going west. And he's walking, sees a very nice woman. He tips his hat to her. She smiles, and then a big gust of wind comes, headwind comes and blows her hat off her head into the street. Now, the man, of course, he wants to show this young lady, because she's an attractive woman. He wants to show her that he's all about, he notices her. She's not going unnoticed in his mob of people. So he dashes out in the street to rescue her hat, and he gets run over by a bus and dies. That is not a very good story, is it? No, but it gives you a good example of ruining your entire life over something that really doesn't matter. Sure, rescuing that woman's hat might have been good, but let's just be honest. Was it worth the man losing his life for? Now, I'm not saying that Caitlin Clark is going to lose her life because of this dumb statement that she made, but I can say right now, she has not benefited the WNBA, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but we're going to go ahead real quick, and we're going to bring this in, and we're going to look at it, do a little quick reaction, if you will. All right, shout out. Let's go. Here we go.
Guys, we're talking about Caitlin Clark on this channel once again, and it's not because she's beaten some sporting record or she's dunked or she's been slammed on the ground by a player on the opposing team again. No, she's done something far more interesting, and that is acknowledging her white privilege. Yes, she's finally spoken up about the elephant in the room, which is her whiteness. It is the reason she is where she is today, I guess, sort of. Not only that, the WNBA is built on the backs of Black women, and we got to talk about it. Let's read the quote from Caitlin Clark, who was named Times Athlete of the Year. Wow. She says, quote, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been Black players. This league has kind of been built on them," which is a very interesting choice of phrasing there. We'll get to that in a moment. Wow. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. Now, it's interesting that she says the league is built on them rather than like built with them, or they've contributed so much to the league. They are essentially the league. If we look at the WNBA in particular, I think we have a 67% Black makeup of the league. For the NBA, it's like 70%. So we're talking about a predominantly Black female league with the WNBA, but somehow Caitlin Clark is exercising some kind of white privilege within the league, even though she is in the minority. And I find this so interesting, because Caitlin Clark has had a roller coaster of a ride within basketball, and she's really shown before the WNBA and through the WNBA as a player of merit and value that has nothing to do with her race.
Okay, let's stop right there, because that is a beautiful statement. Caitlin Clark has shown that she deserves to be in the WNBA, not because of her skin color, but because of her abilities and skills. I personally think she has ruined her brand by making that simple statement on X. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but I don't think that she helped her brand at all. And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but let's go.
In fact, if we're looking at Caitlin Clark and some of her most famous, or shall we call it infamous, moments with other players and fights and battles, it seems like a lot of the pushback that she's received, a lot of the controversy that she finds herself in, has to do with other players on the team having a problem with her being white and her having that merit and value that she is now bringing to the Indiana Fever. So where is this privilege conversation coming from? I know with a lot of white people and maybe people who identify as white allies, this is sort of the obligatory self-flagellating phrase you have to throw out into the
Yes.
world. I have a privilege. I carry that with me, despite the fact that she really fought an uphill battle within basketball and had to prove herself time and time again. But Caitlin, where's the privilege? And that's really the question that I have with her. I want to know what she means by she has privilege and where she finds that she's utilizing that privilege in her daily life, or maybe not utilizing it, just acknowledging that it's there, because I can't see it when I'm running the numbers, when I'm thinking about her story, when I'm thinking about her experiences. It's nowhere to be found for me. So I'm just thinking this is maybe one of those obligatory things that you say to bow down as a white person and to acknowledge the history and the fact that the WNBA is built on Black women, whatever that means. And of course, when we look at the WNBA and its recent history, the views have been up, the fans have been up, and largely because of Caitlin Clark. I mean, there was a moment where not a lot of people were interested in what was happening in the WNBA whatsoever.
And that's what I think. I don't think they thought about that. The WNBA, for good or for bad, if you like it or not, you have to admit the only reason people are talking about it is really because of two players. And you probably only know of two players. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Those are the only two players really that people are talking about because of the brouhaha that happened with them in college, and now they're both in the WNBA. But let's just be honest and let's be truthful. Most people are interested in the WNBA because of the skill set of Caitlin Clark. And that's it. I'm sorry. That's it. I have to admit, I haven't watched WNBA in decades, but the only reason I know about it is because of Caitlin. And not because of Angel Reese, not because of anybody else, but because of Caitlin. I don't even know if Atlanta even has a team. I think they do, but I digress. So her brand was really about playing the game and being a part of the game. Going back to my really bad story in the beginning, she was focused on going in the direction that she was going, but now somebody has thrown a hat into the street and she's run out there to rescue it, and now she's going to get run over. Well, let's finish up.
Caitlin Clark shows up and they're switching from WNBA stadiums to NBA stadiums. She's bringing in brand deals that are funneling millions of dollars into the WNBA. Her teammates, many of whom happen to be Black, are now flying private because of the brand deals and the money that Caitlin Clark has brought into the team. But is all of that, due to, I guess, the merit, which she says I've earned every single thing, but a little bit of like privilege sprinkled on top? And we weren't expecting this from Caitlin. At least I wasn't expecting this from Caitlin, because she's remained pretty, steadfast in her resolve to show up, play the game, sort of keep her head down when it comes to the drama, and just maintain her powerful performance. And she's not spent much time veering off to the side to talk about race or politics or really anything in that regard. And now we have this statement about privilege. And I wish we would have kept it low-key on this one. I wish we would have not gone there, especially with a statement that we don't have a lot of evidence to substantiate when it comes to her exercising white privilege over other people.
That's where I think the problem is. It's not just that you're saying somebody doesn't have privilege. Maybe you do have privilege. Maybe your dad owns a company and you have privilege. We can see it. But just to say the obligatory out there that people are less melanin have privilege, well, where's the evidence to that fact? A lot of times people want to see, like, well, what do you mean that, this, that, and the other? Well, that could happen under any other circumstances. Why is that white privilege? Why? Therein is the problem. But let's let her finish up.
With the WNBA, not only were people not watching it because, let's be honest, women can't achieve the same athletic feats as men, and maybe the NBA is just a little bit more interesting, but the WNBA was leaning a lot on identity politics, talking about race, talking about womanhood, saying that they should make just as much money as NBA players, and really spinning this feminist narrative for an audience that was already, dwindling at best. And that led a lot of people to go, you know what? I don't think I'm interested in the WNBA. I don't think I want to watch this. And when things get politicized, people sort of hold themselves back a little bit and don't want to watch it anymore. We watched the same thing happen with the NBA when they got deeply involved in Black Lives Matter, and ESPN was doing moments of silence during Pride Month. People have an aversion to this. And Caitlin Clark was a star that really showed up with just true merit and value. Left everything she had on the court. She did it in college. She came through in the WNBA as Rookie of the Year, the top draft pick, one of the highest paid rookies, I think, among three other women there. And she could have just let it ride and should have just let it ride. But now we're getting this conversation about an invisible bit of white privilege. Now, I'm not the only one who's been sort of going, what is Caitlin Clark talking about? Megyn Kelly also did a segment talking about Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark actually got a moment to respond to this in an interview because, of course, this statement is causing a little bit of controversy. She stayed out of the politics, and now the politics are sort of coming forward with this quote. And she stands by it. And I got to respect that. If you're going to make a statement like this and a really strong one, you better double down and let us know why exactly you feel that way.
Earlier today, Megyn Kelly, she was saying that you were apologizing for your white privilege and the fact that you wanted to uplift Black female athletes and make sure that they were getting the shine, kind of like your pioneers were getting the shine that they deserve. And I just want to know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career. But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Yes.
I just wonder what precipitated her making that statement. What happened in order that statement needed to be said? And not yesterday or 3 weeks ago or 9 months ago or before you even came into the league, Caitlin. Why did you have to say that? Because I feel like you're apologizing to the mob, and you're never going to apologize enough. But let her finish up.
And you'll never be able to make everyone happy. And someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
I mean, I think I have good perspective on that. And like I said in the article, which turned out amazing, I thought it was great. I said, I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love, my teammates, my coaches, the people inside of our locker room, the people that I see every single day. And I know have my best interest at heart too. So I think my best skill is just blocking out the noise, and hopefully it continues to be, because
it's interesting that, she says she's been such a fan of the league, and she's watched that these Black women have built the league. And the reason that Black women were able to build the WNBA is because they were judged on their merit, and they utilized the merit and the value that they had, the athleticism that they had to make it where they made it. It really has little at all to do with them actually being physically Black, just like Caitlin Clark's achievements and success has little to do with her being white. If I changed the skin color of Caitlin Clark, it wouldn't matter. She'd be Caitlin Clark, and she'd be in the very same position that she's in the Indiana Fever, in the same position that she would have been in college as this player that everybody was watching and wondering where she was going to go. All of that exists without the element of race. And all of that exists for her fellow teammates who happen to be Black or African American without the element of race. So a lot of people were feeling sort of alienated from the WNBA because of all these political conversations, because of this like relentless talk of race and Blackness and privilege and systemic oppression. And now it's been brought back by a player who many thought were going to put that conversation to bed. And that's so unfortunate. And she's talking about highlighting these people, wanting to bring in brands, wanting to bring in money, wanting to bring in eyes. She was already doing it. And she was doing it by just showing up and playing the game. And for every teammate that's around her, even the people on the opposing team, regardless of their race, she was elevating them as well with just her sheer presence. And it's unfortunate that it's been tainted just a little bit by this political message. I understand why she believes the things she said here. I understand why she feels the need to throw a little bit of respect in the direction of Black players, given her position. And I can only imagine there's just a little bit of pressure given the environment to do exactly that. I always liken Caitlin Clark to Eminem because, she's this white person in a predominantly Black field. And we all know what Eminem does in regard to his politics. And there does seem to be this underlying drive to seek out a little bit of acceptance from a community that you don't feel wholly a part of, even though you are adjacent in this sort of cultural realm that you're in, or this sport that you like, or this music that you're interested in. And Eminem does it with Black men. You see it all the time. Eminem will say anything offensive except against Black people. And it's because he's trying to throw a little bit of respect to the people who he feels have let him into a club. And I think I'm hearing a little bit of that in Caitlin Clark's voice here, and how she references the WNBA and says that it was built on the backs of Black women. She says, I'm allowed to be here. I'm in the club and I've proven myself and I've gained my achievements, but I need to throw that conversation back to them, put the ball in their court for lack of a better phrase, because I have this privilege to be here. But I'm just telling you, girl, has nothing to do with your skin tone. But those are my thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below when it comes to what Caitlin Clark had to say about her privilege. Have you seen this privilege? Are you exercising your privilege? If so, what kind? Is it Black privilege, white privilege, Hispanic privilege, Asian privilege? You let me know down below. If you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out, but do so respectfully. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys.
I love it. So yeah, I agree. I don't think that needed to happen. But even more than that, why? What was the climate? What was the environment that Caitlin was in that she felt she needed to say this? Because I don't think that all of her body of work should have been proof positive that she's for elevating the league. And if that means that you're elevating Black women, then by default, they're elevated as well. Rising tide lifts all ships. There's no reason to isolate and call out specifically one particular people group. Just be amazing for all people. I don't understand why that needed to happen. But as we've said, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody who supported the channel. Thank you so much for helping me hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of April. I appreciate you all so much. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. We're out.
Yo, hit that like for deal with Christian. Yo, for deal with Christian. Smash that bell for DLC. Yo, smash it. Just smash it. Hit that like for deal with Christian. For deal with Christian. Smash that bell for DLC. Yo, smash it. Just smash it. Hit that like for deal with Christian.